What's up, you guys? I feel so awkward right now, and it's probably because I haven't filmed like in a long time. I used to film like 5 videos a week or something crazy, and to go from that to like nothing, random videos every now and then, this is kind of awkward. But hi, how are you all doing?
Terrible, really bad.
Great. I thought I would just do a Q&A, life update, and I asked you guys on the YouTube community tab what questions you had for me, so I'm just gonna be following along on the community tab, and I'm gonna be a little lazy and not put them on the screen probably. So, listen, editing is the freaking worst. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Okay, 227 questions. It's a lot. That's a lot of questions. Okay, the first one that I see is, I have been really appreciating you talking about how you talk about addiction in age-appropriate ways with your kids. More of that, please. So everyone's different, everyone's household is different, everyone's parenting style is different, every kid is different, every situation is different. So my first little piece of advice is to trust yourself, trust that you know best for your babies and that you know how to talk to them about hard stuff, because parenting is no joke. It is hard, like raising real humans with their own personalities and emotions and whatever, but trust yourself in that you know exactly what to do and say. Not that you will all the time, but I personally have a lot of mom guilt. I'm really hard on myself, especially on days where things are crazy or stressful, or, you know, maybe I yell or whatever it is. I'm super hard on myself. So I'll rethink and overthink these conversations that I have with my little ones. But the first kind of strategy with that is trust yourself and then ask them questions. And that will kind of give you an idea of where they're at. So I have found that it's best to kind of like relate things back to what they know. So when I'm talking about addiction, I'll say something like, you know how we get like super like moody when screen time is up and we have to put our phones away, put our tablets away. You know that feeling that you're just upset and like, I just want my screen back? That is an addiction. Do you know when you get really excited if someone texts you? Because my 10-year-old has an actual phone now. No social media, but she can text certain people. Oh, also super random. So sorry, my brain is stupid. There is an app called Bark that you can install. It monitors what your kids are doing to keep them safe on their phone. This is not sponsored by them, but I thought I would throw it in there. Anyway, I tell them, you know how happy you get when the little ding goes off? That is also your brain reacting to the screen, because you're like, and you get happy and excited. Well, when you're not getting dings or notifications, you're like, no one's texting me. So all of that plays on your emotions, and all of that can be super negative and harmful, and that's an addiction. So in talking about them with what is going on with their dad, I will relate it back to what they know. I did see a lot of you ask how they're doing. They really are doing amazingly well to everything that's happened. I mean, their whole life got turned upside down. We moved into this house. Something that recently was said was they were talking about the visit that they had with their dad, and they said, Daddy's house. Yeah, we did that at Daddy's house. And it's so small, but it kind of just hit me in that moment, like, yeah, I know we have 2 houses, right? I know that like I live here, he lives there. I know I moved out, but to hear them say it, like to hear them say like, yeah, we did this at Daddy's, it was like, whoa, wow. Yeah, we're doing that. So there are little moments like that where I'm like, oh my God, that's really happening. But the kids are handling it so well. And I'm so proud of them and amazed by them. I've tried my best to just remind them that he loves them and he's here for them. And it's just really hard right now. I do my best to not place permanent words on a problem that I'm going through. If I'm going through something super stressful, I'll say like, this is really shitty. This is really hard. This is super stressful right now. And I don't say like, I try not to put permanency on what I'm going through. And I try to do that with the kids too. I just think it's important to remind ourselves and our kids that like, this too shall pass. This is really hard right now. It's not forever. 2 peaceful households, better than 1 toxic one. I promise you that. So, but it's hard. It's really hard. I didn't want this for my family. I didn't want anything the past 15 months that has happened. I wanted my family together forever. I mean, who doesn't, right? It was really hard for me to like let go of this vision for my life that I had in my mind, you know, and I obviously wanted my family together under the same roof forever. I obviously still deeply care about my ex, and it's hard, you know, it's been hard for everyone. but I am just blown away at how great the kids are about it, you know, and how kind they are and how sweet they are and how understanding they are, you know, so I'm blown away by them, and they're incredible kids. Was there anything anyone could have said or done to help you realize you needed to leave sooner, or you had to get there on your own? Did people try? Best ways to support seeing a loved one in denial in a toxic relationship. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of questions in there, but they're all really good questions. I knew I had to leave way before I left. I don't think there's anything anyone could have said or done. I did have to get there on my own. I had to find my courage and my strength to just leave, you know, whatever that looked like. I didn't have a plan. I did have some savings, but I didn't have like a plan of what to do. So we did stay in a hotel, and I was looking, you know, either to rent or to buy a home. The reason why I bought a home instead of renting, because a lot of people asked me that too, was because I'm a felon. So the time that it would have taken me to find a place that would rent to me, crazy. The cost would be about the same as a mortgage, and an apartment wouldn't give me the same space. I work out of the house, and I need like at least one room that I can film out of and work out of. It is not easy to rent an apartment or rent a house when you're a multiple time convicted felon and you got two big ass dogs. Both of my dogs are over 50 pounds. So it would have just, renting just wasn't an option for me. And I'm very grateful and very blessed that I worked on my credit for a long time, and I did have savings to fall back on. I'm so blessed, so grateful that I was able to do that, and not everyone can. But I made it happen. I made it work. And, you know, I took a huge financial hit over the past 6 months trying to, you know, buy a home. I had to buy a new car. You know, there's a lot. Thankfully, I have been very responsible with my money for a very long time, which was like a whole thing that I had to rework in my mind once I got out of prison, left the lifestyle, did all that stuff, had a family. Yeah, y'all know the story. But I wasn't responsible with money in my past life. I was an addict, I was a dealer, I wasn't responsible. I was just, so I had to learn how to have a responsible and healthy relationship with basically every single thing in my life, but money was one of them. But back to the question, I would get these little pockets of hope that he was gonna get sober. I kept thinking like, no, it's okay. Like he's gonna be okay. But it just got to the point where I couldn't lie to myself anymore about that, and I just had to go. But I don't think anyone could have said or done anything. I just had to find that within myself. In terms of helping someone that is in a toxic relationship, I would approach them coming to you, talking about their problems. I would approach it like this. Are you coming to me to vent, or would you like solutions? You know, so that way you know, like, do you just need someone to cry to, yell to, vent to? Or do you want someone to try to help you work through this? Do you want to be presented with solutions and options? I think that's really the best way that we can handle a lot of situations, whether that is your friends in a toxic relationship or a relationship that you're in or what have you. Just asking what they need in that moment, I think would go a long way. But you can only do so much as a friend looking on the outside, looking in. So that would be my advice with that. Can you tell us how you recently handled your relapse with alcohol? How did you get back to normal life? When could you tell you were having a problem with alcohol? How did you handle this type of relapse after so much long-term sobriety? So when I'm filming this video, I'm 2 weeks and 4 days. I'm never gonna be able to keep up with that, by the way. I'm never gonna remember how long it's been since I had a drink. I'm never gonna remember. I'm probably gonna get it wrong all the time. I should write it down. I should write it down somewhere. But I'm not super focused on it. I'm just not drinking. And the reason why I don't like focus on that is because if I'm constantly trying to remember how many days I have, then I'm constantly thinking about it. And I don't like to do that, just for me personally. So I was abstinent for like 7 years, and it's been 10 years since I've been in recovery. It's been 33 years since my brain's been broken though, so yay. But I've never really focused on the amount of time that I have sober, because if I'm like every day thinking like, okay, now I have 2 weeks and 5 days, now I have 3 weeks, now I have 3 weeks and 2 days, then I'm constantly like meditating on it, and it's constantly on my mind. And for me personally, it doesn't help me to constantly be thinking about it. So I'm not thinking about it. I don't have any alcohol in my house. I'm over 2 weeks alcohol free, and I feel good. I feel really good about it. And I've always been that way. I was like 5 years into recovery when I was like, oh damn, it's been 5 years since I picked up. So if you don't know, I was in abstinent-based recovery for over 7 years, and then my recovery changed, and I started using cannabis for my PTSD, my insomnia, and my depression. And at that time, I was undiagnosed with ADHD. And I would use cannabis sometimes, you know, a couple times a week maybe for my PTSD, depression, and insomnia. And I felt great with that. I felt really good about that. But there were other symptoms going on. So like a year later, I went back for a new diagnosis because there was another diagnosis that was kind of put on me years prior, and I wanted a psych eval to kind of go over where the discrepancy was, and I'll get to that in a second. So my ADHD was pinpointed almost immediately. In learning about severe ADHD, I have learned that depression and the inability to regulate emotions is directly tied to ADHD. And I just thought I was just depressed. I just thought I was weird or lazy or just a million things. I thought it was normal to be interested in like 472 topics and want to learn how to play guitar one day and learn about Rubik's Cubes the next day, and then you want to paint, and then you want to do a YouTube channel, and then a Patreon, and a TikTok, and a Instagram, and a Snapchat story. Like, what? That's insane. That's too many things, dude. It's too many things. But I thought it was normal. So they pinpointed that real quick. And if I'm not careful in my sleeping, my eating habits, exercise, all of the stuff that I've always had to do with depression, if I'm not careful with my mental health and not careful with my my symptoms of ADHD, then my depression worsens. I feel like I'm not explaining it really well. So because of ADHD, the symptoms that I experience fall under that. So depression, anxiety, all of the things that I deal with in my day-to-day life, the forgetfulness, hyper-focusing on things, literally not being able to move because you're like, I have 1,000 things to do. I'm gonna sit here and stare at the wall. What? No, get up, do something. I can't. My brain physically hurts when I try to complete tasks or even start a task. Then I'll have moments where I have like 36 projects unfinished or it's just a mess. So all the symptoms with my ADHD tie into the things I've been diagnosed with before, but now it's under the same umbrella, if that makes sense. So the other diagnosis that I have is PTSD. So my mental health diagnoses are PTSD and ADHD. And there's a lot of symptoms underneath those things. There's a lot of overlaps. And that brings me to a question that I see pop up pretty often, and that is, why did I delete my video on ASPD? That is because I was misdiagnosed with ASPD, which is a really common thing that inmates get diagnosed with. For an adult to be diagnosed with ASPD, some things have to happen. And if you don't know, ASPD is antisocial personality disorder. It's not antisocial in the social sense where it's like, oh, I'm introverted, I'm antisocial. No, in the clinical sense, it means something different. It doesn't mean that you're not social. Anyway, for an adult to be diagnosed with ASPD, you have to have some kind of behavioral issues or conduct disorder as a kid, as an adolescent or kid. ASPD is conduct disorder as an adult. So they're the same, but you have to experience or exhibit signs of a conduct or behavioral issue. So I was aggressive. I was always getting into fights. I was impulsive. I would go against societal norms. And I remember the interview and the psych eval when I was diagnosed ASPD. It was when I was fresh out of prison. I was in survival mode, and I have been most of my life, but because of that, I wasn't showing a lot of empathy, because when you experience too many traumatic events in a row, you could lose the ability to feel empathy. That can come back, which it has for me, but it makes sense why I was kind of just slapped with that label. But I remember the interview for the psych eval when I was fresh out of prison. I mean, maybe a month out of prison. The therapist asked me, do I feel bad for breaking the law? Do I have empathy? Do I have remorse for the crimes I committed? And I straight up told her no, with like no explanation to that either. And I went home and I thought about it that night, and I'm like, of course I don't feel bad. The war on drugs is bullshit. And I was like, I don't know, I just didn't care. I'm like, no, I don't feel bad for breaking the law. I'm a drug addict. I don't believe in the war on drugs. But I don't think I explained that to her like at all. So she's like, do you have remorse? Do you feel bad for the crimes you committed? No. What? Maybe follow that up with, well, the war on drugs is complete bullshit and it does more harm than good and whatever. Anyway, it makes sense that I was slapped with that label. But then over time and the more research that I did, I'm like, This doesn't make any sense. I literally took that diagnosis, shoved it in a drawer, didn't think about it, didn't care about it. It didn't even cross my mind, especially when I was first home, because it took 2 years, 3 years to even have basic stuff like a wardrobe, So I didn't think about that. It wasn't top priority. I was learning how to be a mom, building a life. So yeah, that diagnosis is wrong. That diagnosis is wrong. I have a lot of empathy and a lot of remorse and a lot of compassion. I didn't at the time because of what I had just gone through. But that is the reason why I took down that video, is because I had a new psych eval and my diagnoses are ADHD and PTSD. Would you be comfortable talking about how you got to a place where you feel safe taking psychiatric medication outside of cannabis? It was a journey. It was a journey. I remember going home and telling Reese, they diagnosed me severe ADHD. Isn't that nuts? And he looked at me like I was insane. He's like, no, we know, we see it. We all see it. I'm like, what the fuck? Nuh-uh. So even accepting that I had severe ADHD was kind of a process. Women are often misdiagnosed for ADHD because the hyper side of it, that could be mental. If I'm being honest, I almost gave up. I almost just completely gave up because I felt like I was being treated like a lab rat, if that makes sense. I was put on Wellbutrin, that didn't really help. Then I was put on Strattera, that didn't really help. Especially if it's something I have to remember to take every day. I'm already at a disadvantage because I'm gonna forget. I don't know where my car keys are. I lose things all the time. I forget things all the time. I'm chronically bad at keeping appointments. People that are not neurodivergent, people that don't have ADHD, they're like, just get a calendar, get a journal. Like, do you know how many journals and calendars have literally died in my home? The limit does not exist. So now I am on Adderall, and I don't even take that every day. I take that as needed, which is the most helpful thing. Stimulant medication is like the #1 medication, frontline defense medication for ADHD. And I know there's a lot of stigma with that, especially in the recovery community. And I don't care. I don't care. And that might sound shitty, but I'm tired of people telling other people not to take their medication. For me, I had to get to a place where I had to accept the fact that my brain needs help chemically. Like I need something that helps me focus and think straight. And I mean, I can't even tell you how debilitating ADHD can be, because people think like squirrel. No, bro, the lights are loud. Like the lights are too loud. And if like the air conditioner is on and the lights are loud and the kids are running around and the TV is on and then someone's on their phone, it sounds like 17 people screaming in my head at once. And that's insane. So for me, I had to get so bad, because I'm stubborn, for me to be like, okay, I just need help with this. Also, I had people that sucked in my life kind of like gaslighting ADHD, and they're like, you're fine, just get a calendar or whatever the fuck. You don't seem hyper, you don't look hyper, you look like you're okay. Like, no, I know I look like I'm okay. I'm not. I can get overstimulated at the drop of a hat. So I had to get there on my own, and then just not listen to people that are not doctors, not listen to what people think that I look like you look like you're fine, you look okay, you seem okay. Or people would kind of, they would take my successes and my wins and all the good things that have happened to me and then tell me that I can't possibly have debilitating mental health issues because I'm successful. And I'm like, no, that's the hyper fixation of a YouTube channel and then a TikTok page, and like that's a symptom, bro. So I had to just not listen to people that were not doctors and that did not know how my brain worked. And I had to trust that I can take my medication as prescribed. I can be okay with that and all of that stuff. Currently in my life, I might smoke weed once a month, twice a month. I really don't smoke that often, and I lean on it when I can't sleep or I'm super depressed or there's something going on that cannabis can help with. The thing that I use the most is freaking CBD pain balm. Bro, I will bathe in that shit. It's so good. It's so good. Like, it's heaven sent. You mentioned you're going to continue to write your book. Are you going to include the latest events in the last year or so? No. My book is going to be more of like a memoir style from my past. It's going to include certain things I haven't shared here. It's definitely not going to include anything that's happened recently. And I am starting to work on it again, kind of. Like in my head, I'm diligently writing, you know what I mean? No, I am working on it again. I just can't wait to have a copy to give you guys. I can't even process like the idea of holding my book in my hands and being like, you guys can have it now. Like it's done, here it is. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be one of the best days of my life. What are some tips you can share with us about things you do when you notice your mental health begin to slip? I notice pretty quickly because I have like a daily checklist. Like, did you drink water? Did you exercise? Did you eat right? Did you go to therapy? Are you doing things that make you happy? Are you doing all of these things? Even if I do all those things, sometimes my brain just wins. So if my checklist doesn't help me feel a little bit better and I just need a day to lay in bed and do nothing, then I lay in bed and do nothing. I try to listen to my body. I try to listen to my mind and take the space and the time that I need to be okay. You know, self-care doesn't always look like bubble baths. Sometimes self-care looks like freaking crying and just not getting out of bed for just a day and letting yourself be in that and feel that. But I also think it's important to not stay there. And even if that means you have to call someone for help, call someone for help. Try not to stay there, okay? I found that prioritizing your physical health helps your mental health, and I don't know why they're separate because your brain's part of your body. Mental health is physical health. But if you're doing all the things to take care of your body, it really does help your brain. And as much as I hate working out and going to the gym because it's freaking filled with torture devices and I hate it there. But I will say that every single time I work out, I do feel a little bit better. It's not like the end all be all cure for depression and all of that stuff, but it helps, you know, even if it just helps a little bit. Like I found that doing little things throughout the day that help me like that make a big difference in the long run. So I don't know if that helps. So if someone doesn't believe that I had strep throat, they thought I was detoxing. So here's my lab work. Like, come on guys, I had strep throat. A lot of you guys are asking like how I'm doing with the separation, and I probably should have started the video with that, but I'm good. I'm handling it the best way that I can, which is just day by day. I think all of the stuff going on online and all of the people, you know, constantly telling me that I'm a liar, that I'm in a relapse, that I'm all of these things, it wears on you, you know? And I think the past couple of videos I've tried to explain like the weight that comes with a platform this size and the responsibility that I feel and the pressure that I feel. And I mean, I am picked apart on the internet. I know every content creator is, but to be picked apart from everything from my physical appearance to every single word that I say to how fast I'm talking, or I don't know, it really messes with me like mentally. It makes me more insecure, more awkward, and that sucks. Like I used to be in a place where my mental health was so good and I didn't care what someone said about my physical appearance. Comments might irritate me here and there, but I was never like, I don't know, it affects me deeply right now because I have shared very personal, very hard things. So right now, those comments really do get to me. And it's not even just comments online. I've had people call me and reach out to me and say shit to me like, oh wow, I really need to cook for you because your little booty is getting a little skinnier. Like, bitch, what? Like, maybe don't comment on my body. I literally had someone say, like, I want to believe that you're sober, but you don't look too good. Like, yeah, because you're always used to seeing me without makeup on, and every time I don't wear makeup, someone's like, oh my God, are you sick? Are you okay? Like, no, it's just my face. It's my regular face. And I have like rosacea really bad sometimes, and sometimes it's super inflamed. So sometimes my face like is super red. And I've had people be like, oh my God, are you okay? What's wrong? What's wrong with your face? Are you sick? Are you contagious? So I've had people say to my face, like, I want to believe that you're not in a relapse, but you look a little relapsey. Like, the fuck? Because I'm not wearing foundation? Or I lost 5 pounds, so I must be in a relapse. Like, dude, my life has been crazy stressful. I have gone through hell, and I am just now kind of to the other side of that, where I have enough time and distance away from everything that I went through last year to try to process it all. So when you add any more stress on top of that, maybe it's internet drama, that feather is going to collapse the whole tower of Legos. I don't know. But any extra stress to me in this moment, I'm like, and I freak out and I can't handle it. Like the big stressors right now for me, I just shut down and I don't want to talk or get out of bed or go anywhere or do anything. Then like the minor inconveniences, for whatever reason, it's just the most. Maybe I'm late. Maybe I lost my car keys. I know I say that a lot. Listen, fuck those keys. Maybe there's something that's going on, you know, a minor, regular, daily stressor. And I don't handle it very well. And then like the big things, I just tend to shut down these days, but I'm working through that in therapy and I'm doing pretty good with it. I'm getting there. I'm getting better. Recovery is not linear. Healing is not linear. I have days where I wake up mad. I wake up mad at my ex. I wake up mad about the situation, or if I have a hard mom day, I'm just frustrated that I'm a single mom and doing this on my own. And I lay a lot of that frustration and anger on my ex because it should be 50-50, but he can't do 50-50 right now. He is trying and he is doing better and he's back in therapy. And I have to accept the fact that I have to meet him where he is, and I have to understand that he has to heal individually so that we can co-parent in a healthy way. And we are doing pretty good with that. The schedule that we have is going pretty well. We had a dicey, rocky start, but we're doing better. I have to accept that it's going to take time and a lot of work. And yeah, this is hard. And I'm trying not to be so angry at him when I have moments where it's really hard being a single mom. Everyone is calling me right now. I've had like 14 missed calls. Where were y'all yesterday? I wasn't filming yesterday. My brother's trying to call me. Someone asked if I would ever film a video with my siblings. Maybe. It depends on which siblings we're talking about. I have a lot of freaking siblings. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. There's twins in there. 2 very different sides of my family. I'm the second oldest, so my older brother, he just called me. He would never be on camera, ever. You couldn't pay him any amount of money. He would never do it. He actually surprised me a couple of months ago. He said he watches my videos. And like, that might not seem like a big deal, but it took me years for him to get a phone, okay? Like, he is very like, he's not about this shit, not about social media. So I was really surprised when he said he watches my videos. How are you feeling about your platform and the demands and the responsibilities that come with it? You know, I think I did mention that in this video already. I might have briefly mentioned that, but I tried to say it in a lot of the other videos that I was posting about all like the crazy shit that was going on, where I tried to explain how heavy it is on this side, you know, and all of the picking me apart and demanding certain things from me, whether that is to help a certain person or to speak on a certain topic. And sometimes people get really like violent about that, you know. I'm just a chick with a camera and access to the internet. Like, I was not expecting to have a YouTube career. I didn't mentally prepare myself for that. And I know I've said that in past videos, but this just kind of happened. And a lot of people are like,
tell me how you did it.
And I'm like, I just this, and then it worked, and then I just kept doing it. So that was the process. I don't know. I just kept talking to y'all, and that's it. But trust and believe, as hard as this is mentally, trust and believe. I know how blessed I am. This is crazy. This is incredible. My YouTube journey is only like 4.5 years old. And to go from 0, like Mama Kent was my first subscriber, to go from 0 to this, like it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. It's surreal. It's weird. Like, are y'all sure? I feel like some people hit the subscribe button on accident, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't know. I can't comprehend it, but I do know how blessed I am. And I know that some people work for 10 years and don't see the kind of success that I've had on YouTube, and I can't make any sense of it. I'd like to think that I've made some good videos along the way and helped some people, but still there are other content creators that are smarter, that are just better people in general, or they're more talented, or the videos they make are, you know, crazy and cinematic and just incredible. Like, there are incredible creators that deserve 1 million, 10 million, and they deserve the diamond. Like, they deserve that because they pour their heart and soul into that. And I do as well, but I'm just sitting talking to a camera. There's not a lot of production value that goes into this. I think there's an element of luck to YouTube and social media that I can't deny. It would be ridiculous to take like all the credit, like, look at me and my subscribe. Like, I can't control who subscribes, you know, it just kind of happened. It's a combination of a little bit of luck, hard work and dedication, and you have to be a little crazy to do this. So I don't see myself doing anything else. I don't want to do anything else. I love YouTube, and I'm really serious here. I am not a serious person in real life. That's why TikTok is so good, because I do these stupid ass skits, and I have always done that. My whole life, I was either going to be a stand-up comedian or run a backdoor card game or an inmate. So, but I'm not a serious person. I am class clown AF. I'm gonna make you laugh. I want you to pee your pants when we're hanging out, or it's not funny enough, you know? Like, I love making people laugh, and I love doing skits, and I love just being a freaking weirdo. Like, I'm not a serious person in real life. How are you feeling emotionally? Do you miss being a couple, or are you glad to be moving on? I do have moments where I miss, you know, my old life, and I miss him and the routine that we had as a family. I will say that there are a lot of perks in single life. Like, this is so random. I built a dresser the other day, okay? And it took me 8 hours because physically it hurts me to try to put things together. My brain doesn't work that way, but I did it. It is being held together by prayer alone, but it's fine. And I realized, like, all of these drawers are for me. I don't have to share a drawer with anyone, or like, you get this half of the dresser, I get this half of the dresser. No, that's my dresser. It's all mine. I don't have to share it. So, you know, there's really cool moments like that, you know, where like I don't have to go to sleep when you go to sleep, or I can have the temperature of the house to whatever I want. I don't have to compromise with you. So there are moments where I'm like, hell yeah. But there's also moments where I'm like, damn, this sucks. Like, I miss that person. I miss our routine and our life. And I have to get over that and mourn that and heal and move on for myself. You know, before I can get into a relationship with anyone else, I have to heal first. So I am single. I'm not dating anyone. I'm not dating a drug dealer. Ridiculous. But I think, like with anything, it's just gonna take time, you know? I accepted less than the bare minimum for a really long time. So I think once I am ready to like open myself up for a relationship, the bar is not on the floor anymore, okay? The bar is high, okay? And for a lot of people, the bar is on the floor and they still can't reach it. So I won't accept that anymore. But I think I'm like really far from that, from, you know, opening myself up to that or even considering that. But when it happens eventually, because I'm not a nun, you better come correct. So you guys want to know how Mama Kent is doing. So she is doing good. She just finished chemo and radiation. Like, she got to ring the bell, you know, and hopefully we'll see her soon. Once she is strong enough, I want to bring her out here so she can see the new house and she can hang out with the babies. And she wants to film a video so bad. She definitely wants to talk to you guys and do a check-in. So we're going to do that soon, I hope. But she's doing good. So I've been filming for like an hour and a half, and I still feel like I have not gotten to a lot of your questions. This video will be cut down to like half an hour or 45 minutes or so probably, but I wanted to end the video with a life update, content update, and what is going on in my life. I'm about to fly to New York to be on a podcast, Dopey podcast, but then there's another show that I'm gonna do, like a prison cooking show, and then a podcast interview. That's happening in a few weeks. Hopefully I'm still spending like a month or two in LA so that I can film out there and show the girls how great it is, because they're small, so they have summers off, and I want them to see how amazing California is. I want them to be on set with me and film with me and do all of these things. There's 2 different meetups happening. There's one happening here in Chicago in a couple of weeks, and then there's another meetup happening in LA. A ton of content creators that I'm close with in the prison community. We're all gonna come together. I'm gonna film interviews with them, and there's just a lot of really exciting things going on. But I am throwing myself back into work, both on the house and on the internet. Speaking of, I'm also about to give you guys a updated house tour video. I've been working on the house, and I can't wait to show you guys everything that I've put together. Okay, I am starving. I have to go make lunch. Maybe it'll be a prison recipe. Maybe I'll film 2 videos today for you guys. But if you're struggling in active addiction, I'm a partner with Groups Recovered Together. They are both online and in person. They're bomb. They believe in harm reduction. They're 420 friendly and don't kick you out if you mess up along the way, because recovery is not linear. And they understand that. They help with all different kinds of things. And even if they can't help you, they will do their best to find someone that can, or facility that can. I always leave my information with them in the description box of every single video. But I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you, because there's no wrong way to recover. And I will see you guys in my next one.